The MMI Travel Team would like to welcome you to our travel training series for aspiring travel agents. My name is Dadra Driscoll, and I am passionate about helping others succeed in life, faith, business, and leadership. I happen to be a proud member of the John Maxwell Leadership Team. I am a management and leadership consultant, as well as a corporate trainer. I happen to also be a travel entrepreneur, where I provide corporate travel training for travel agents across the country as well as internationally. I am also an IBCCES Certified Autism Travel Professional, as well as a Special Needs Group Certified Accessible Travel Advocate. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Monday Special Disability Travel Training. Today, we're going to be talking about knowing where to look, because part of being a special disability travel agent is being able to find the information that you need. So my first thing I want to tell you is that booking a trip for a special needs client is going to require patience, good listening skills, research, and sometimes even some creativity. So as you're endeavoring on this, I know we have a lot of new people continuously coming into the company and coming onto our calls. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of those things. Once you've talked to this person, they're interested, and you want to book a trip for them. Well, what do I do after that? So I'm glad that you asked. Let's get ready to get started. Just got a few stats just to let you know. People with special disabilities, they travel. Now, often people think, well, if something is going on, they're not going to travel. According to the U.S. Bureau of Transportation Statistics, approximately 25.6 million U.S. travelers with disabilities took 77 million trips between 2022 and 2024, contributing over 50 billion annually to the travel industry. So for those of you who've been considering this as a travel niche, is there a need? Is there a market? Yes, absolutely there is. Imagine if you got just a hair of that 50 billion, what that could do to your travel business. People with special disabilities do travel. Now, these next set of statistics came from the U.S. Government Accountability Office. Air travel, roughly 27 million passengers with disabilities traveled by air in 2019, according to the Department of Transportation data. Travelers with disabilities and their companions contribute over 100 billion per year, with 50 billion being spent directly by travelers with disabilities. Again, this is from the U.S. Government Accountability Office. It's a growing segment. The market is expanding, with projections suggesting that the number of disabled travelers could grow significantly as our population ages. And under travel behavior, it said, while individuals with disabilities still face some barriers, 59.8% of people age 18 to 64 with travel limiting disabilities still traveled in 2022. So again, as you're looking at this as a demographic, it's a viable one. It's just the travel industry is catching up to that realization. So everything isn't always as cut and dry and easy and simple as a traditional booking, where you just go to the website, click a few buttons, and you book it. Because individuals with special disabilities, special needs, they may need special accommodations and some creativity in terms of the booking at times. So we want to talk about you as a travel agent. Where do I look to be able to serve my customer or my client? So you're going to start with your traditional qualifying of your client. You know, the same general stuff you're going to want to know. Where do they want to go? When do they want to go there? How are they getting there? All of those things that you're already doing for your traditional travel clients, you're still going to do, but you're going to need to ask some additional questions. You're going to want to find out what things they need. So The first thing I want you to note is that no two clients are exactly the same, even if they may appear to have the same special need. One client may have special needs with respect to their medication. Others may have special needs with respect to mobility or accessibility of the property. So you never want to assume that just because you've booked for one client with a particular need, if you get another client who says they have that same um, diagnosis, that they're going to need the exact same things. They may need the same things. They may need some of the same things. They may need none of the same things. So when I mentioned being patient, that's one of those things. You want to make sure that you give your full attention to each client and what their specific needs are so that you can start figuring out solutions. So, in addition to the traditional qualifying questions, you want to ask what type of accommodations your client wants. So, or may need. Again, you want to ask that so that their travel is comfortable for them. What is it that you need? Because you don't want to just assume that you automatically know what they need. You may know certain things, but giving them a chance to explain to you their vision for their trip, it may be that they want to take their walker with them, or they have equipment, or excuse me, like I said, maybe they have a special prescription that needs to be handled a certain way, or things like that. You want to give them the opportunity to share with you what it is that they want and or expect. Also, you don't want to promise things that you can't deliver. So let them know you'll research and get back with them. So again, when they're asking you, can I have this, or can I have this kind of room or this type of cabin on the ship, you don't want to promise them things until you've had an opportunity to check with the property or the travel vendor just to confirm. Again, there are options available in many cases that can accommodate the majority of things, but on occasion, they may ask you for something that you can't provide. So it's also important, again, that you not make promises on things that you can't deliver. Now, at the end, I'm going to actually go live and I'm going to switch over online and we're going to go to some actual websites. But for right now, when you're going to a supplier website, you always want to search for the policies of the brand or brands you're considering so that you know what things they have to offer. So often in that little search bar, usually somewhere on the website, there's a magnifying glass and a search space. You can search terms like special needs or disability. You can search things like accessibility or their specific diagnosis, different things. So it depends on what your client needs. Sometimes, if you can't find that search bar or that magnifying glass at the top, always be sure to scroll down to the bottom of the website and check in the footer because for some brands, they put that information in the footer of the website. So, again, familiarizing yourself with the brands that you use and where to find their policies is always a good thing. One, so that you're familiar with what they are. Two, you know how to access them. And three, you can also refer your client to them so that they can see ahead of time what those policies are for the brands that they're using. Here are just a couple references. I'm going to be posting some PDFs into the Facebook group after this training that lists some others. But this first one, as a travel agent, period, you should either have bookmarked or be very familiar with the State Department's website for travel, travel.state.gov. They have a lot of general information, but they also have information on there for people who are traveling, um, whether people need vaccinations, if there's threat levels. So there's general travel stuff, but they also have information there for people who may be traveling with special needs and accommodations. There's TSA Cares. They have the TSA.gov website has a special area called TSA Cares where they address things pertaining to people who are traveling with special needs. We've talked about the Autism Double Checked or Autism Checked website. That group, they have different properties and brands that have been gone through their training certifications. And so they have lists of things. So they're also a good reference to have in your arsenal. If you're trying to find properties or things that might be autism friendly in particular, they have a really good reference there, and we'll look at that. And then also the brands that you're looking at. These are just examples. These are not an exhaustive list by any means, but just examples. For instance, if you're booking them a flight on Delta, you'll want to go to the delta.com website and look at what their special accommodation policies are. If you're booking a cruise with Carnival, for instance, you want to go to their special needs area. Or maybe they're going to beaches or Charisma, or maybe they need equipment. So you have things such as special needs at sea. You want to also begin to create a list for yourself of brands that you know have good relationships and good customer service for their special needs clients, because that way, when you're qualifying your client and you're considering places to send them, you'll have some places already in mind that would be good choices. Thank you for participating in the MMI Travel Team Travel Training Series for aspiring travel agents. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be notified when new travel content is posted. Also, you can connect with me at dadradriscoll.com, mmImanagement.net, and mmItravelteam.com. Have a great day.